Hi and welcome to PhD Career Stories. Today we have a guest, a young man from Austria with a fantastic career behind him and into the future. He has done a career that I know many of you followers and also my clients are very curious about. It's a dual career. He is one foot in the academia, the other one in the industry. But shortly, who is Simon Rittman? Well, I would say he's a CSO and co-founder of Arkeon in Wien, Austria, and he's also a PI at Archaea Physiology in the group in Wien. He's also a PhD in a postdoc that he took and achieved in Austria, both in Wien and in Linz. So very welcome to this podcast, Simon. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you, Tina. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine too. And as I told you, Arkeon, Archaea, I would do that wrongly. I knew it. So you're very welcome to correct me here. Anyway, I know, as I said, that you have a career at the moment with one foot in academia and one foot in the industry. And I wondered, was this some sort of plan that you planned from the beginning, or was it something that you were dreaming about?
Yeah, I actually didn't have this plan from the beginning. I was always very interested, of course, in developing or working in the industry, but at the same time, I was also very interested in working for academia. But my plan was initially to become a scientist.
You wanted to be a scientist. So when did this idea come up that maybe I can have the both?
Yeah, actually, I was jumping always between industry and academia in my career. So when I did my PhD here in Vienna, I had many projects together with the industry. So it was about 6 or 7 smaller, bigger projects with the industry, and it was also an applied project where I was doing my PhD on. So I got very close with the industry, and after I finished my PhD, I went into to working for a small startup, and but I always was sitting close to academia. So actually, my workplace was also in an environment, so to speak. And I was always in the situation where I had contact with the industry, but also with academia, independent of where I was working. And so in the end, it turned out to be like this more or less for most of my time. And now I'm working for my company and also for the University of Vienna.
Mhm. But if you just help our listeners here now that you say you didn't have a plan, but maybe it is so that you have a sort of drive here, but maybe you should shortly introduce what your science is about from
Yeah,
the beginning.
sure. My science, I was always intrigued by archaea. These are microorganisms with special metabolic features, and they're very important for ecology, for human well-being and health, but also
Mm,
for biotechnology. And I wanted to combine always this science field, basic
mm,
research archaea, but I was always intrigued with biotechnology. So I wanted to go and study archaea with regard to the possible biotechnological applications. And so I ended up being in academia and industry at the same time.
mm, mm. What would you say that if you when you work in industry now as you are a CSO, and a co-founder, and then you are a PI at the same time, how much percentage of your position is in academia? Is that something you like to share so we
Yeah,
get to know?
I have a very little position,
Mm.
so it's more or less officially 10% of my working time.
10% of your working time. So 90% is in the start at 10%. Put it this way.
It's 100% in my company, and
Okay, 100%.
yeah,
Yeah, you work 100% and then you still have a great. And,
ex-
and this is interesting because I have a colleague of mine in Sweden. He's doing the same thing. He never left academia, but he had these 10%, but he worked 100%, but still have something extra at the university. So what in you makes you like to work? I guess more than 110%. You most likely work 200% or, but what is it in you that keeps you stay connected to academia?
Well, I like to give lectures. I like to educate students, first of all. So I enjoy very much giving lectures. Today, actually, before our interview, I gave a lecture on ecophysiology of organisms. This has nothing to do with my industrial, with my company, so to speak, but it's educational. And at the same time, what keeps me also in academia is that I can do research, applied basic research that I can not do in industry. In my company, we are very focused to developing our gas fermentation process. And in my academic life, I'm having completely different projects. But mostly it's about students.
Mostly it's about students here. If I ask, like, why are you not 100% in academia? The focus on that.
Yeah, this is a good question. Actually, I was also 100% in academia, but I figured out that sometimes you have to do something in industry to be able to scale a process, to scale your technology. Yeah, in applied sciences or basic applied scientists, we develop processes or we find exciting new possibilities for biological processes, for instance, but maybe the industry is not ready for it. And so I ended up in co-founding a company, which was necessary because nobody wanted to, yeah, to take this risk, obviously. Yeah.
So you had science that you did, let's say you performed science at the university, and companies were not interested. So you founded your own company as some sort of middle stage to develop it, to sell it to, then later on, or to grow your company. Do you know that?
Yeah, to grow the company. Yeah, it was actually quite interesting because what we found that these Archaea that we investigated, that we found were converting CO2 and hydrogen into amino acids, and actually it was more or less not at this time interesting for other companies. So we had to do it ourselves in the end to go this direction, to scale this process, because the technology is really can be a technology that produces amino acids for human nutrition only from CO2 and H2. Yeah.
So what I'm hearing between the lines here is that there is a need on the market. You know, we have these big pharmaceutical companies or biotech companies, but they can't take on early projects from the university.
Yeah,
So if you want to develop certain things, you can't do it in academia. I just would like to pull that back, that if it was possible to develop it further and in academia, would you have preferred to do that?
Not necessarily. I was always open to founding a company. I was always playing with the thought to do it. Yeah, but at this time or back a couple of years ago, it was not the question because I was immersed in academic research. But looking back, I was always like, if there would be the possibility, I would have been open to do it, as in this example with our company now. So maybe, there was the chance to do it. There was also the necessity to do it. And of course, from a project at the university, usually there is no further development once the project is finished. In rare cases, there's a continuation, a follow-up project, but usually the projects are closed, and then the technology is in a premature stage and cannot be further developed at the university. I tried this, but it was not possible. So the solution was to go ahead and found a company.
But what does this actually say how the system is working? Is the total system that we have for research, is it optimal, or is there a missing link somewhere? Well, it seems to be so from my side here.
Yeah, it depends. I mean, I cannot say it in one or the other direction, but in our case, there was this missing link. Yeah,
There were missing link.
Yeah, so it was not possible to develop this technology further to a stage where we came very far, we have to say. Yeah? It's not that we just ended up in a small reaction tube. we ended up cultivating and producing in a bioreactor.
Wow.
But this was still too premature for some bigger development, so to speak. But for our own development, this was perfect.
Right.
Sometimes one has to be maybe brave and say, okay, I just develop this technology further with some co-founders and in my own company. Maybe this is really necessary that scientists take it from themselves.
Yeah, because in the end, it has to do with the money. So I'm now curious. You founded you co-founder of the company, and how now to help our listeners here. You have a project at the university comes to a certain end. It's fairly common actually, and then the question is, what do I do with it? And some take a patent of it, or some start a company. You decided to start a company to move it further. How did you learn then to start the company? Because there is a process to start the company. You need funding for the company, etc. And how did you plan that? Did you ask for help, or you had colleagues that could do that for you? Or?
Yeah, absolutely. So we pitched, of course, our technology, and there was a company builder that was interested in this technology, and they actually helped to scale our company with us. So we were all co-founders, were academic, we were scientists. So we never had a company before, so we had to learn it, and it was like a very good support, I have to say. Yeah.
Where did you find the people?
To the company builder, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was also. We were in contact because I was working at the University of Vienna at this time on the project. My other co-founder at the BOKU University in Vienna, and the third co-founder at ASIP. And at ASIP, there was this company builder was contacting ASIP, Austrian Center of Industrial Biotechnology, and they linked us more or less in the end to pitch, and then we went from there. So actually our company is a startup of the University of Vienna, but two of my co-founders also come from the ASIP and from the BOKU. So
yeah, maybe is ASIP something well known? I don't know what ASIP is. So what is that?
ASIP is the Austrian Center of Industrial Biotechnology.
Yeah.
It's a research center and for industrial biotechnological research.
Yeah, so they also have resources for helping scientists to start a company. Is that what you're explaining here?
Yeah. So at least they're doing the networking and very oriented and at founding startups also. But our project initially was developed at the University of Vienna, but my co-founders, so we are, depending how you see it, a startup from ASIP, BOKU, and University of Vienna, and with technological development at the University of Vienna.
And where did the money come from so that you can run the company? What kind of support did you need there?
Yeah, we had of course, this project where we did this development, academic research, but then the pre-seed came from the company builder, and the seed came from different investors.
How did you find the investors?
Well, through the network of our co-founder of our pre-seed investors.
Yeah. Is that a certain organization that you have in Austria that can support with the seed or early seed money?
Because there are also such organizations, but we did not do this.
We didn't do that. Mm-hmm. Do you know how long they will support you? Have you no idea?
They're still supporting us.
Yeah. Do you know for how long? Yeah.
Yeah. As long as it needs.
As long as it needs, yeah. They believe in the project. But no, so that means that you went from a scientist, and when you were in this mixture here, where okay, I want to take my project, I can't stay at the university with this project. I need to take it further to the next step. And then, what did you need to develop? If you would look at you as a person, what did it take for you to take that step?
I mean, as a scientist, you always have to be very flexible, but for me personally, for personal development, it means reflecting all the time about my role in the company, it's not like that there is linear trajectory as you would do it maybe in an academic career. But an industrial career is very much different, especially if you run in a startup, because this environment changes very fast.
Mm.
And so you have to adapt to the environment all the time.
Mm.
Yeah.
How did you learn that?
Well, being open and also communicating. So we have a very good team, and we're communicating very open and also honestly about the needs and the wishes. And it's very important that the company moves forward and not you as an individual. It's not that the individual is the most important. It's the company and the technology that needs to be developed. And in academia, it's sometimes I have the feeling very much focused on the person.
And here it's a different focus now.
It's a different focus. It's the focus on the company, on developing this technology to a stage
It is.
where it's mature.
Yeah, in science, it's about you and the articles you publish, basically.
Exactly. Yeah.
Unless you start in teaching as you do now, you have your part where you are teaching students and so. But of course, it's a different focus here. Yeah, because you are the CSO, so it's sort of a natural role to take. But would you say that you are, if you look and put yourself in perspective of, I wouldn't say a standard scientist, it doesn't sound very, but the pool of scientists, yeah, would you say that, are you special? Do you have certain characters or risk-taking abilities that made you take this step?
Definitely, I would say. Yeah. Because I mean, it's always a risk if you change something. Yeah, I mean, this is a very difficult question, but in the end, it's if you leave academia, or I mean, I have not left academia to be
No, you
honest.
haven't.
I'm still at the University of Vienna. So, but to go into this direction is a very is not every scientist would take. I suppose.
No, I'm quite sure. And why I say that is because, I'm coaching scientists, I'm coaching PhDs, and they are sort of, what you have done, many wants to do, but they don't know how to take the step. And I say, you need, of course, to have an idea, but you also need a project that you can take to that level.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, you need to get the seed money. And if you look on it, for you, when we in this podcast here, for you, it's sort of, it was a natural process. But if you think now about a PhD or a postdoc in the situation, let's say they're sitting in Max Planck or in Germany or France or in England, we have listeners all over the world. I think, well, I have an idea here. Maybe, they don't want, I can't continue here. I would like to take it to the next step. What would you advise them to, where would they start? How can they start? What would be your advice from your perspective?
Yeah, not to give up, certainly, because I mean, not infinitely you can pitch. Yeah, at some points you have also to focus and work on your projects. But if you have found something which is really groundbreaking and can make a technological difference, then you should go ahead and pitch this to companies, to company builders, and try to get the money and to found your company. This is what we did, and in the end we were lucky to have made it into this amazing company, Arkeon. We have 37 employees by now, and our company is not even 2 years after funding. So it was an amazing journey, but you have to just to try it, to make it, This is the advice I can give. It doesn't. Nobody will call you and ask, "Have you developed a technology?" So you have to go out and do it and show that you have developed something.
Yeah, you have to show them. Yeah, you have to sell, actually. Yeah, you have to
sell it. Yeah, you have to show it that you are capable.
So we are back here now. So I just take the question. Yes, Simon, you are correct. You have to sell your idea. And now we may be coming to something that is sort of a weakness for some scientists, and that is to sell, to pitch your idea. Take it from dreaming to actually selling your idea and reach out to people and take feedback.
Mhm.
Did you get feedback?
Yes, we got. I mean, from whom do you mean? From scientists or
Could
before
be
we?
both. I mean, you started to pitch your ideas, so I guess you got feedback somehow.
Yeah, we also got feedback, but sometimes it was not personal feedback on the pitch or so. In the end, the feedback was, yes, we want to go with you in this direction, or mm, in this one example, but in most examples it was, I mean, not so. It didn't happen. But it's also you must not be alone to do it. This is what I want to say. So it's good that there is a scientist and a technologist or many scientists who want to do it, but as scientists alone, you cannot do it. It's a business in the end. So you need some people from the business, from the finances who understands this. Yeah. And this, you need to form a team, and I really cannot advise that you would do it alone. Yeah, I would not have gone this journey, definitely, but with a team of very capable people, and also our company builder that have a good understanding and a network in the business world, this was very, very important for us. So it's also about you have to form a team. Starting a company alone is, in my opinion, not advisable.
Now, I would say it's probably very, very difficult, particularly in life science, because you need different sort of competences when you start the company. But then I'm coming back to that if you could help them with, if they're sitting there and they have an idea, how do you start building your team?
Mhm. Yeah, you have to find a counterpart or counterparts with whom you want to go, and you have to be convinced to do it, and then you have to work for your idea for this project, and this is what you need to do. It's not about writing papers, but it's about writing a business plan. Maybe you need it, maybe not. It depends. It's about the market. It's about a completely different world where you want to immerse your company, your idea in, and it's not about selling your research, so to speak, in a research paper, but to make it a real business. And this means that you have to learn new skills and talk a different language and be always open for communication also. Yeah. It's not that you get always scientific feedback. At
No,
some points
very
you have to,
rarely usually.
yeah, exactly. You have to let go. Yeah. You have to
Yeah,
also be
yeah.
able to explain your science in a very easygoing way. You have to find a very picturesque language to explain your very complicated science, maybe, yeah, that not many people might understand, but you have to sell it in a very easygoing, in a smooth way to someone who wants to do business with you or invest in you, in your company.
Yeah, I see what you say. It's a different language, and that when it's business suddenly, it's not only about your research. And I believe that that is what happened with many when you leave academia. And this is again back to if you look for a job, and I say, why do you want this job, and who are you? And then you talk about your science. But yeah, I know, but I want to know who you are and why you want to work in my company. And this is actually going back to the same, that if you go with your research, you have to start to sell in yourself. Do I believe in Simon? Do I believe in Simon that he can run this company? That is, of course, important. You say connecting to a team, get the people around you. I think that it's absolutely essential. So listen carefully. It's not only about your research. It's really, you can have the best project in the world, I believe, but if you don't have the right team, it will not work out very well. And I also believe, and correct me if I'm wrong here, that you need to be on a learning journey, that running a company is not all about you and what you think, Simon. It's also about what other people around you think and where you can go to be sort of get that sort of business mindset around it. Would you agree around that?
Absolutely. So I mean, we at Arkeon, we are a team of people, and we all have the same goal to scale our technology and to scale this process. And this is what we are working on. It's not about the individual, about our careers, but it's about Arkeon, about the company. And this is where I want to make the point that we have many very capable persons who are working on different aspects of R&D, but also of engineering, business, food in Arkeon. And together we are Arkeon and not just someone who developed this technology. I'm not attached, to this technology that I would always be the one who understands it or who has developed it initially or found this amazing capability of these organisms who excrete amino acids, but we brought it to a different stage, and you have to want to go this path, this way.
But we also back to now we know you left, and we learned that Simon, you went from scientist, starting a company, learned many new abilities. Some of them you probably already have. You build a team, you connected with people, learned to know new people that you had in your network, so you can get seed to your money here, money or seed money to your company. But you also took a deliberate decision that even though I guess working as a CSO and co-founder means working over 100%. It's many hours per week, I guess. But you still took a decision to stay with one leg in the academic part. And do you think you will continue to do that? Or is it so that you one day say, actually, I think I go back to academia?
I cannot answer this, but I'm open to both worlds. And now my journey brought me to this company where I'm very happy. So it's fine. I like to be in both worlds at the same time. This is really something where I feel quite well, I have to say. I have the connection, I have the pure academic research, but I have also the pure industrial research. And the good thing is I do not have to mix. So I don't mix my academic and my industrial research, so they're separated. And you have also to be able to do this, because some scientists, they might not be able to distinguish between this project or a company or the science, and I can do this very well, I have to say.
Yeah, I think it's very important. But you also you're not only teaching, you have science going on and funding at the university as well.
I have, yeah. I have 2 research projects at the university, and so I'm running a research group, but I'm also doing a little bit of teaching.
Yeah. So if you now say so, that how did you strategically plan where to be associated so you could stay? That was your former department, or?
Yeah, so it's of course also a goodwill of the university, that they allow me to still be employed at the university. Not every university might do this, or wants that the researchers are still employed at the university. So this is also something where you have to give still the university also something, and this is the research I'm doing and the teaching I'm doing. And if the university might see that it's valuable for them, then it would go this way.
Yeah, but I hear something quite for you. I listen to you, so you take it very naturally, But what I can hear between the lines here now is that you are a good salesperson, because you need to convince people in the end. Both when it comes to start a company, you need to be able to convince people, join me, join me, give me the money, join me. But also the same thing, and this is, something, what I'm trying to convince, people in science. Yeah, but if you want to stay and you want to have one leg in, and I say, do you know why? You have to tell them why. Because if there's no benefit to have you there, why should they keep you for this 10, 20% and pay you? So you need to sell that in as well. And you succeeded with that, Simon.
Yeah, I suppose, yes.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
So we are going back to you as a person. Is it so that you are you have built an ability to make yourself useful?
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if I can bring to the university and to my company at the same time, also in this aliquote, like the benefit that they want to see, then it's okay. But if one or the other would say, well, you do not perform, then it's not possible. So I have to perform in both worlds. And this comes also with consequences, of course.
Yeah, it comes with consequences. You have to perform, though. So what is the consequence? Yeah, you have to perform. And what is the consequence?
Yeah, you have to like your job, and you have to like to work. Yeah? And
Yeah.
this is
Would you like to share how many hours you are working?
no.
No. Listen carefully here, look here now, yeah. And this is, please do that, because I know when you come to me and you want to be coached and you ask me questions, sometimes to have a dream job and do what you really like comes with the consequence that you love your job, which means you put many hours in just for your passion somehow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
And
it's
we,
my it's my passion. Yeah. Science was always my passion, and it it will never stop, I suppose. Yeah? So, but of course, if you find something as a scientist which is valuable as a technology for to be scaled, to be worked on, that it's really brings a benefit to the planet, even, then this is more than you can ask for as a scientist. And then you, in in my case, it was the logical path to follow. Yeah.
Yeah, you created your dream job, Simon. It's a little bit what I hear, and you did that by having an incredible networking ability, and you adjusted and you made yourself very useful, and you took a chance when you had it. Yeah, but it's also the ability to surround yourself with the right people at the right moment. This is a little bit what I can hear between the lines now when we come to shortly the end of the podcast here. But is there something, when you hear me wrapping up a little bit here, is there something else you would like to add? If like to say that, if you listen to me and what I have done, if people want to do what you have done, what sort of short advice would you give them?
Yeah, to be always very open, flexible, and with regard to a company, to develop yourself also, yeah, to find new roles, to inspire people, to give them advice, and also sometimes to um, in science, yeah, to say, okay, at this point we follow this trajectory or this research project, and then I let go. Or if it's really useful, develop it to a technology that is useful. Yeah, give everything to develop it, and work hard on your technology, and then you have a good chance to that you succeed with your company afterwards.
Mm-hmm. Thank you a lot, Simon. Thank you a lot for coming to the podcast and sharing your amazing career.
Thank you for the interview, Tina.
Yeah. So with that said, I'm turning my head to you guys here now that this is PhD Career Stories, and this was Simon Rittman, CSO, and also PI, a sort of dual career that shared with us his amazing career. So if you would like to listen to more podcasts, you go to www.phdcareerstories.com. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And as always, never hesitate to contact us, because we are also looking for people that can work for us at the podcast, because we are growing. Many people like to be interviewed, and we have a lot of work behind the scene here. So with that said, contact us also if you know anyone that has an amazing story. So have a lovely day and take care.